All right, hello students. In this video, I'm going to show you how to use video analysis with a software called Logger Pro to analyze videos of throwing things up in the air. So here we go. The first thing, if you're using a Mac, like our school computers, you need to find Logger Pro. And so on your desk, if you're on your desktop, you can hit Control F, or I guess it's Command F to do the Finder tool, or just click once in the desktop, click the Finder tool up here where it says Apple Finder and scroll down to File, Find, and that's the symbol. It's the Command F. And then we need to find a software called Logger Pro, Logger space Pro. There we go. And I have a whole bunch of files with this name because I have a lot of files that are referencing the software. You're looking for the one that has the graph paper and like the yellow background and the tool. So Logger Pro. Double click. Okay. And so we're going to be using a feature of Logger Pro called video analysis. To do this, you have to have a video first that you've already taken and then uploaded to your computer somehow. So I uploaded mine from my phone to Google Drive and then downloaded onto the desktop. You might do something similar. So here we go. The first step is going to go to Insert on the top and then Movie. And we got to find that video. So for me, it's on the desktop. There it is. Got it. And once it gets in here, you can resize the video. So if yours comes in small, you probably want to make it basically as big as possible for what we're going to be doing next. And I'm going to click play once just to watch the video. Here we go.
Oh, perfect.
All right, there we go. That's my son, Aaron, holding a ruler and then throwing a tennis ball straight up. Okay, so there's a toolbar on the bottom right, or a button on the bottom right that has the 3 red dots in the arrow. If you click that, it opens up your video analysis tools, or a video analysis toolbar on the right. And I'm going to go back in the video, like click that little, what do we call that? But basically send the video back to the beginning. I'm going to click play again.
Go ahead.
And I'm going to stop and then pause. I'm going to go back and find the moment where it first leaves his hand. So right now it's in his hand. I'm using the one frame at a time. Forward, it's his previous frame, and forward frame. So that has the 2 little arrows. I'm going to click. This is still in his hand. I can see it's in his palm. His fingers look like they're still touching the ball. We're going to wait until we're pretty sure the ball's all the way out of his hand so that it's just in free fall, which means the only forces acting on it that are important is gravity. Okay, so I'm going to call that the very first frame. The next step, there's a tool on the bottom right that says Sync Movie and Graph. I'm going to click that. And right here where it says click on graph to set the graph time, I'm going to type in 0. And the idea is at this moment in the movie, when he first releases the ball, I'm going to call that time 0 in our graph. It's not time 0 in the movie, but it is on the graph. Okay, click OK. Next, we are going to use the Set Scale button. So if you look on the right-hand side here, there's one of them that has a ruler that's horizontal. Set Scale. So click on that once. And then Aaron's holding a ruler in the video. And the idea is for that ruler to be in the same plane as the motion. So not closer than the ball and not further than the ball, but just like the same distance away. And I'm going to click and drag from the bottom of the ruler to the top. And do your best. This is probably the most important measurement you make. Do your best to be accurate with that. In your case, you're probably going to use a meter stick, so it will be 1 meter when it has this next window pop up. In our case, a ruler, I just Googled it, and it's 0.305 meters. So that's just because I happen to use a ruler. And then select OK. What that's doing in the video is it's setting a scale, which means your video, each video is made up of a series of pictures, and each picture is made up of a whole bunch of pixels. And so when you're clicking and dragging on the screen, it's measuring how many pixels there are from one end to the other of that line that you made. And then when you're telling it it's 0.3 meters, it uses that to figure out how many meters each pixel represents. so that when you're making measurements of distance, it can measure distance by measuring the number of pixels and then figuring it out from there. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is now we're going to do the actual video analysis by making a motion map on the screen. I'm going to click the red dot button that says add point. And then I need to pick a spot on the ball, either like the top or the bottom or the middle, and then click on the video to show where that is. And it's going to advance one frame at a time. You'll notice the ball itself is blurry. And it's even videos or any picture is taking an exposure of light over a period of time. And so you're actually seeing the motion, how much the ball is moving during that one picture for the video. And so I have to pick, I'm going to choose, I think for me, the easiest part to see is the very top of the ball. So I'm going to click on what I think is the top of that smudge. I'm going to move my cursor away and you'll notice that the ball moved up. Now I'm going to click again on where it looks like the top of the ball is. And then again, I'm going to go kind of quickly here, but the idea is to take your time. Because I'm not going that quickly. Take your time. You'll actually notice that as it goes up and slows down, it gets less and less blurry because it's not moving as much. You'll also notice I keep moving my cursor away. I think that helps me to see that, like, the overall image of the ball, decide where I'm going to click, each time. Okay, so here we go. I'm going kind of fast now. In real life, I would go a little bit slower. Okay, and actually I could keep tracing it all the way to the ground. Maybe I'll kind of losing track of it. That's pretty good. Okay, so we're almost done actually, but I want to show something. What happens if you accidentally put a dot somewhere you don't want it to be, or you make an extra dot? So the first thing, let's say I'm all done. I actually want to click on the white arrow tool that says select point. And the reason for that is if I don't, you might accidentally click somewhere on the screen and make a dot. And so notice I just happened to click on the left. Let's say you were trying to click on the graphs or something and you accidentally clicked on the movie. It'll keep adding a new point and then making measurements of that point. If I want to get rid of that, I can click on the white arrow tool, click on the dot, and then click delete. Takes a minute. There we go. Or let's say I want to adjust one of the points that I've already made. Like that one, I think I didn't do a great job with. I went backwards a couple frames. So I know, right, that's the dot that was made at that frame. I can click it and drag it to move it just where I want to. So a few ways of making adjustments. One other thing, if your video happened to be taken sideways so that when they're throwing the ball, it's going like that instead of up and down. I mean, it really was up and down, but on your video, it's left and right. There's a way to adjust that. Adjust the video. You can't reorient the whole video in the software. It has to swap every pixel. That's a lot of work. But we can reorient the X and Y axis of our graph. So there's a button up here on the top right that says Set Origin. And for example, in this case, when Aaron's throwing the ball, I might say right where his foot is, that's our origin. When I click there, it calls that 0, 0, 0 in the X and 0 in the Y. And there's also where that dot is, the big yellow dot, that's representing the horizontal or X axis. So if the video is turned sideways, so if he's throwing the ball and it looks like it's going like that direction, you can click on the graph once to place the origin. And if you click on that yellow dot, you can reorient this so that now the X-axis is going up and the Y-axis is going to the left. So I can help you that individually if you need to, but if the video turns out sideways, there's a way of fixing that. Okay, so we're almost done. I'm going to click the add point button, or the select point arrow button, so I don't accidentally add more points. And then let's make this a little bit smaller. And let's take a look at our graph. So the first thing you're noticing, or I'm noticing, is there's two different sets of dots on this graph, the blue dots and the red ones. The blue ones that say Y represent its vertical position. And so what this video is doing, or what the video analysis is doing, is based on where I set 0 to be, And based on the scale that I told it, how many pixels equals 0.3 meters, or in your case, how many pixels equals 0.1 meters, it's measuring the height, y, of each of those dots. And so that's what it's graphing in blue. And then in red, it's graphing how far each of those dots is left and right from wherever we set the origin. If you don't set an origin, then it considers the bottom left of the video 0, 0. So it's measuring how far left or right, in this case, right, how far right of the origin each dot is. In the case of this lab, we just care about the vertical motion. Why? So we're going to click on the axes, or the y-axis. When you click there, it'll give you all these options. And whichever one you select, it's just going to graph just that one thing. So I just want to graph y. So there we go. In this lab, I also want you to graph the y velocity, the vertical velocity or vertical speed. And so here's how we do that. I'm going to go insert graph to make a new graph. And then in this case, the graph already, that's what it guesses that I want. But let's say it didn't select y velocity. You could click on the axis and then select y velocity. All right, you could select x velocity, how fast it's moving left and right, so on. But so y velocity. Okay, and then I'm going to do another step. I'm going to go page on the top in auto arrange, and the software is going to move these all around so they fit nicely. So that's great. And then I'd like to do a fit. And so let's do a fit of the y velocity graph. It looks pretty linear to me. So if I click once in the graph, and then the tool that says linear fit, it has like a kind of a slight curve with a straight line going through it. If I click there, it will draw a best fit line through all the points and then calculate the slope. And I think that's what we're going to do for now. It's possible I might add some instructions for how to get the, I think we'll call that good. Yep, that's what I want for now. It is possible to get a fit or a best fit equation for the graph of y versus t, but I'm going to leave that for now. Okay, thank you very much for watching this video.